Good day, Deepin Word family. Welcome to day 246 of our Bible study review. Today we're going through the chapters 19 through 21 of the book of Job. In chapter 19, we see that Job opens up responding to Bildad's accusations, which Bildad had basically said that the wicked are punished. And so he is accusing Job of being a wicked man, passive aggressively. Let's open up in verse 2 with Job's response. He says, "How long will you torment my soul and break me into pieces with your words? These 10 times you have reproached me. You are not ashamed that you have wronged me. And if I indeed have erred, my error remains with me. If indeed you exalt yourselves against me and plead against me with my disgrace, know now that Elohim has bent me and has surrounded me with his net." He goes, I hope you're satisfied, because if I have erred, you are basically representing the fact that his net is covering me right now. His trap is covering me. I hope you're satisfied with all of your so-called words of comfort. Let's pick up in verse 7. He says, "Look, I cry out concerning wrong, but I am not heard. I cry aloud, but there is no justice." He's seeking the face of Yahweh, but he's not receiving an answer. Let's go down to verse 11. It says, "He has also kindled his wrath against me, and he counts me as one of his enemies. His troops come together and build up their road against me. They set up camp all around my tent." So this can mean a literal tent or his body. These are temporary tents. And he says in verse 13, "He has removed my brothers far from me, and my acquaintances are completely estranged from me." Verse 14, "My relatives have failed, and my close friends have forgotten me. Those who dwell in my house and my maidservants count me for a stranger. I am a foreigner in their sight." Verse 16, "I called my servant, but he gave no answer. I begged him with my mouth. My breath is offensive, even unto my wife." Down to verse 18, "Yes, young children despise me. I arose and they spoke against me. All my close friends abhorred me, and they whom I love have turned against me." Job is remembering how he was a respected man. He had many houses. He had maidservants. He had servants. He was taking care of people. And now that all of his riches are gone, those whom he took care of, those whom he fed and clothed, they have gone astray. They act as if they don't know him anymore. We've heard the words of his wife, and we also are hearing the words of his so-called friends. They have forgotten his integrity. They have forgotten that he is a well-loved and respected man. Even Job stands up in his own defense, and he's going to remind his so-called friends that he has a redeemer. There is one who still loves him and respects him. Let's pick up in verse 21. These are words to his so-called friends, his accusers. He says, "Have pity on me. Have pity upon me, O you, my friends, for the hand of Elohim has struck me. Why do you persecute me as Elohim does? And are you not satisfied with my flesh?" He goes, "Are you not satisfied? You see that everything I had is gone. Even my flesh is plagued with boils." He goes, "And you still speak words to harm me. When are you going to be satisfied?" And this is Job's cry. "Oh, that my words were written. Oh, that they were inscribed in a book." Indeed, they are. He says that they were engraved with an iron pen and lead in the rock forever. "For I know that my Redeemer lives, and he will stand at last on the earth. And after my skin is destroyed, yet in my flesh I will see God," or I will see Elohim, "whom I will see for myself, and my eyes will behold him and not another." And Job ends with a question to his friends. He says, "If you say, 'How shall we persecute him?' since the root of this matter is found in me, be afraid of the sword for yourselves. Be afraid, for wrath brings punishments of the sword, that you may know that there is judgment." Job is saying, I am telling you that I am innocent. And if I am experiencing this as an innocent man, what do you think will come to the end of your life? What do you think will come when he judges you? And now we open up chapter 20 and we see that Zophar is going to chime in on the action. We already know that Eliphaz and Bildad have come in for their round 2 of accusations. And now Zophar is going to answer Job. And we're going to see that he answers him in pride. He is offended at the words of Job. And he says right here in verse 2, "Therefore my thoughts cause me to answer, and for this I make haste. I have heard the rebuke that disgraces me, and the spirit of my understanding causes me to answer." So now Zophar wants to ask Job a question, and he says, "Do you not know this of old, since man was placed upon earth, that the triumphing of the wicked is short, and the joy of the hypocrite is but for a moment? Though his loftiness extends to the heavens, and his head reaches the clouds, yet he will perish forever like his own excrement. Those who have seen him will say, 'Where is he?'" Zophar goes into detail of how the wicked will suffer, and their reign is short upon the earth. Let's pick up in verse 27. It says, "The heavens will reveal his iniquity, and the earth will rise up against him." So Job's so-called friends do have the basic understanding that heaven and earth witness against the image bearers who are wicked, and he is definitely calling Job a wicked man. And let's pick up in verse 28. It says, "The increase of his house will depart, and his goods will flow away in the day of his wrath. This is the wicked man's portion from Elohim, and the inheritance appointed to him by God." These are all the things that have happened to Job. So he's basically saying, you're suffering because you have done something wicked. Again, this is so-called friends trying to console this man after losing everything. This is their advice to Job. This is so cruel, in my opinion. I don't know about you, but I would immediately get rid of these people, and they would never ever be called my friends. Now let's pick up in chapter 21 with Job's response to Zophar. He says, "Listen carefully to my speech, and let this be your consolation. Bear with me that I may speak, and after I have spoken, mock on." He says, after I speak my peace, continue to do what you're doing. Continue to mock and be a fake friend. Continue to be someone who kicks a man while he's down. And so he says in verse 4, "As for me, is my complaint against man? And if it were so, why should not my spirit be troubled?" And so Job wants them to observe something, because obviously they have on blinders. They're enjoying taunting Job. And he picks up in verse 7 and he says, "Why do the wicked live and become old? Yes, become mighty in power. Their descendants are established with them in their sight, and their offspring before their eyes. Their houses are safe from fear, nor is the rod of Elohim upon them." Job is basically saying, you see how the wicked are prospering, yet you say that the wicked will be destroyed, that everything that they have will be taken away from them. But Job is saying that's not the truth of what's going on with the wicked. And maybe you and I can see that as well. Those who are ruling the earth right now, they are followers of Ha-Satan. And it seems as though they're living a life with bliss. They're living a life with zero cares, right? And it seems like their offspring continue to live with these riches, to live without a care, and to live without a worry. So Job is saying, if you say the wicked are perishing, then why are the wicked ruling? And why are their offspring, not just their children, but all of their livestock is just abundantly going forth? So if the wicked are being destroyed, he's saying, explain, since you have gone about and you've seen the wisdom of the earth and you've seen so many great things, then why are the wicked prospering right now? And if you're calling me a wicked man, then why am I being destroyed and they are not? Let's pick up in verse 13. He says, "They spend their days in wealth, and in a moment they go down to Sheol. Therefore they say to Elohim, 'Depart from us, for we do not desire the knowledge of your ways.'" Down to verse 17. "How often is the lamp of the wicked put out? How often does their destruction come upon them?" Job is like, as far as I can see, they're living a life of absolute bliss, while me, an innocent man, is struggling. Job boldly stands up to his so-called friends and accusers, and he says in verse 27, "Behold, I know your thoughts and the schemes with which you have wronged me. For you say, 'Where is the house of the prince?'" He's saying, y'all are asking me, where is my house, right? And he says, "And where are the dwelling places of the wicked? Have you not asked them who travel the road? He goes, why don't you go and ask those who are prospering right now? Because those are the wicked ones. And he says, and do you not know their signs? For the wicked are reserved for the day of destruction. They will be brought forth on the day of wrath. Who will declare his way to his face? And who will repay him for what he has done? Yet will he be brought to the grave, and will he remain in the tomb? Now let's go to verse 34. He ends this way. He says, how then can you comfort me with emptiness, since deceit remains in your answers? Job says, you haven't gone back and forth. You haven't seen the ways of the wicked because they're prospering. And you claim to know me, but you don't know me at all. It's as if you've forgotten my integrity. It's as if you have forgotten that I once took care of servants and maidservants, that I once clothed them and fed them, that I once would be speaking to young people, children, and they would gather around me to seek my advice. And because hard times are falling on me, you're calling me wicked? He says there's deceit in your answers. Job is saying, you don't know me, and you don't know the judge. You don't know God Almighty either. Well, Deep Word family, that's all that I have for this court case today. We'll see you tomorrow for some more back and forth with Job and his fake friends. Until then, Yah bless.